Coach's Corner with Coach Heck and the infamous Coach Patrick King. You're stuck with me, man.
I'm stuck.
You are stuck with me. I ain't going anywhere.
There's a lot of people that are jealous of me for sitting here, and there's some people that there's a little sympathy going on at the same time.
There's more people that are sympathetic to you. I'm just saying that much right now. Ron, you know you're second in the state in tees.
When I go talk to Turkovich at the scores
Get a
table,
picture.
I said, get as many pictures as you can.
And you ain't that good. The scouting report said you were pretty good. You ain't that good. Oh, man. Are you kidding me? I mean, that right there that just makes me laugh.
That's
Every
fun,
time
isn't it?
I hear that intro, I just laugh my brains out,
That's
man.
fun.
And so
It just shows you we've had a good time.
Well, no. So, what is the funnest comment that you? I mean, obviously, I like the one when you're going up to the scorer's bench with Trigovich.
Probably the most fun one, I think, was probably that, because that's a true story. We didn't make that up. I mean, you got to remember, we're in the regional. I mean, a big deal. We're over in Michigan City for the regional, and back in, what was it, 07? And we're playing the number one team in the state, East Chicago. And one of my, high school, I guess you'd say idols, was I looked up to, Pete Turkovich.
Pete Turkovich, man.
He's coaching the other team.
I know.
So I'd already told my wife, I said, when I go to the scores table to talk to Coach, I said, get as many pictures as you can. And it kind of reminded me that the stories you said when you coached the McDonald's game, when you had LeBron saying, okay, LeBron signed this because someday it's going to be important.
Yeah, no, I think that's funny as hell.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites is always when I'm playing against somebody, and the scouting reports, man.
Oh, sure.
This guy can do this. This guy's that. This guy, and I run down the court and say, "You ain't that good.
You're not as good as the scouting
report says that you guys are pretty good. You ain't that good." And the other player just looks at me and goes, "Are you crazy?
I know.
What's the matter with you?"
Well, and I did something stupid like that too. When we were in college, I never played in basketball.
Man, I wish I'd have known. I'd have called you.
I never played. And it just happened that we were playing Indiana State at Hinkle, and they were number 1 or 2 in the country, and everybody's in foul trouble. And Theo comes down the bench and says, "All right, who can guard this guy? Who can guard this guy?" I knew. I said, "I can guard him." I said, "I guard him in high school." Like that. He goes, he didn't even know my name. He says, "Anderson, get in the game." He just called me Anderson. So I ran in the game. So I go in the game, and Harry Morgan's. We're at the free throw line. Harry Morgan's. He starts laughing. Because, Harry and I played, we were on the same Little League team together. And Harry's playing for Indiana State. And he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Shut up. I'm guarding the blonde-haired guy."
Oh, I thought you were going to guard Harry.
No, I guarded the blonde-haired guy.
So how long did you guard Larry Bird?
For like 4 or 5 minutes, the rest of the half.
How'd he do? How'd you do against him?
Between myself and my roommate, Don McLaughlin, we held him to 48 that afternoon.
Jeez, that's pretty good, man.
Which I think was a Hinkle Fieldhouse record. He broke Adrian Dantley's record.
Oh, man.
Dantley had 40-some like 2 years earlier. When
that is a great story, man. That is a great story. And our people that watch our show and follow us, they are wondering why I'm one of the lads from Liverpool.
Oh, yeah. Check out the John Lennon glasses here.
I mean, I'm one of the lads from Liverpool because I got a little bacteria infection in my left eye.
It's rough getting old.
And can't wear my contacts. So that's it, man. That's why I
haven't worn contacts in probably 5 or 6 years because I never could put them in.
All right, so we are going to. So I mean, we got a great show. We have 4 people we're actually going to talk live to. Norman Anderson, the head basketball coach at a little school down in Anderson, Indiana, Liberty Christian. Norman played for me. We're going to talk to Robb Berger here, whose Mishawaka Marian team has won 12 in a row.
Yes, they have.
And I told Robb this was going to happen. I did predict it. We're going to talk to Joey Bradburn, the head coach at Mount Vernon, who's probably got one of the toughest sectionals in the state.
Right, sectional number 9.
And then we're going to talk to Coach Steve Bruce, the girls basketball coach at IUSB, and I've worked, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11 or 12 of his games this year. I broadcasted him, and Steve Bruce's team is like 27-1, 19-1 in the league. They're ranked maybe 18th in the country. They are a great team, and he is a great coach. So
I'm saying the small colleges, the NAIA, start their tournaments tomorrow.
Yes, they do. And the Crossroads League will start theirs on Wednesday. Right. But before we get rolling,
You got
Health
some
Markets.
sponsors.
Yeah, no, our two big sponsors, Health Market Insurance with Tony Letcher. Whether you need help with your health insurance or Medicare, it's time you get the right coverage for the right price. So give Tony a call today at 574-307-8. There's Tony right there. 574-307-8882, or visit his website at tletcher.com. Another one of our real major sponsors, along with the Black Sedan Band. Man, I mean, the music that the Black Sedan Band rolls out is tremendous. We use them for bumper music. They're out of Birmingham, Alabama. They have a great drummer. Donnie Heck is their great drummer. And so we appreciate them sponsoring us. Also, Hahn Funeral Home. The loss of a loved one can leave you with lots of unanswered questions and stress. At Hahn Funeral Homes of Mishawaka, they are there to help. We have a couple of Hahn Funeral Homes employees in the house today. Aaron Hecklinski and his friend Lily, who is a director of the funeral home. Aaron's an intern. Once in a while, when they have to practice on embalming something, they use Aaron. They use Aaron as practice. He has stitch marks everywhere. He comes home. He says, "They embalmed me today, Dad." I said, "Cool." So let me ask you guys this question. Okay, what did one casket say to the other? What did one casket say to the other casket? Do you know? Is that you coughing?
That's enough.
The Hahn Funeral Home, located on 505 West A Street in downtown Mish. Call Pat Hahn, the owner, at any time, 574-255-1474. Stop in, and they will give you what you need at a very, very sad time in your life.
Hey, we have a special guest before you guys get too crazy.
No, who we got on?
Our old
Johnny
Purdue.
Be Good.
Johnny be good.
He is working. Happy birthday, boy.
Well,
Hey.
thank you.
Hey, Johnny, did you get my birthday wish today?
I did, Coach, and I sent a response to you, so you'll need to check that out.
Beautiful. How old are you? 37?
Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll definitely go with that.
Good. It's great to see you, man. How's school going?
Busier than ever. We're getting down there. We've got less than 60 days left in the school year, so we're working hard. I just got home a little while ago, so got a note from Scott and Pat wanting me to hop on, so I thought I would real quick.
Good. Great to see you, man. We're gonna talk for a few minutes, and then we have four guests on, a couple of high school coaches and a college coach. So hang on. Anytime you want to join in or ask a question or make a comment, feel free, because you started this, Johnny Be Good. You started this for us, man, right?
Yes, I did.
At the smokiest bar I ever was at in my life. What was the name of that?
RBIs.
Nice. Down on Jefferson.
Our first show was at RBI's.
Yeah.
I don't smoke, and I came home and I'm blowing smoke out of my mouth for 2 hours.
It was one of those where you got to leave your clothes at the back door.
No, it's amazing, but
great people. Just
great food.
They still smoking there.
Yeah, but so I mean, we started there as our first show, and now look at us now, right, man? We got graphics.
You guys are big time now. You're more than pillars of the community now.
Well, we are pillars of the community. There's no question about that. Hey, so let's start with that. With that Crossroads League deal first. And when you talk about NAIA basketball, it's not much different than NCAA basketball because they can give scholarships.
Yeah, and it's probably the premier conference in the country.
Yeah, without question. You have the number one team in the nation in Grace at 17-1 in their league and 27-1 overall. You have the number 5 team in the country in Indiana Wesleyan at 24-4 and 15-3. And then you have the 18th ranked team at Bethel at 10-8 in the league and 19-9. Now, when I mentioned some of these coaches of the top 5 schools in this league, of course you know them because they're synonymous with Indiana basketball.
Right. These are Indiana coaches,
and they're synonymous with great basketball. Scott Moore is the head coach at Grace College. His brother Matt is the head coach at Warsaw High School. They both played at Columbia City for the great Chris Benedict. Greg Tonigal, a LaPorte guy, has been the head coach at Indiana Wesleyan for about 100 years, and he does a great job there at Indiana Wesleyan.
It's interesting. He and Steve Draven were teammates at LaPorte.
Yeah, played together at LaPorte. Steve Draven, of course, is the head coach at Bethel.
Mhm.
Steve was a great guard. Scott Hetty is the head coach of the number 4 team in that league. Marian High School had a great playing career at Shenandoah.
I remember when he played for his dad, like 80, 81.
He played for his dad at Shenandoah.
Right. I think they went to Final Four.
They did in the one class tournament.
Mhm.
And then Scotty took the head coaching job at Connorsville, stayed there for a while, and then from Connorsville went to Warren Central, had a great run at Warren Central, and then got out for a minute and came over to Anderson University,
right,
and helped out at Anderson, and then took the head coaching job at Carmel.
Mhm.
And obviously, I mean, we know what he did at Carmel, won a couple state
championships at Carmel.
And then obviously at Huntington College, Corey Alford.
Another, you got an Alford.
I mean, carrying that name.
He played at UCLA, right?
Played at UCLA
for his dad.
And now he's coaching the 20-8 Huntington men's basketball team, 13-5 in the league. So we actually have the schedule of their tournament, right?
Scott's got it up on the screen for us, so you can see who's playing whom. And these games are all Wednesday, and you can read through there. They've got 8 versus 1, 5 and 4, just like you would in the other tournaments. And the highest seeded team, Grace, will host the semifinals and the finals if they continue winning. So right now, the first game's at campus. You can see it'll be at 4 different places on Wednesday. And I believe Friday, is it Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Monday? I'd have to go.
I think it's Friday, Monday.
I think it's Friday.
But what do I know?
Well,
I'm just a lad from Liverpool.
We can look those up. But
I don't know anything.
But I would say 4 of those teams will end up invitations to the national tournament.
Oh, yeah, no, without question.
At least 4 and maybe 5. I
mean, one of the best NAIA leagues in the country, if not the best. If not the best. The CCAC, which has local schools, IUSB here, coached by Scott Cooper, and Holy Cross, coached by the great Mike McBride, who you worked with for a while.
Right, I was an assistant coach with him. They've got a little bit of a down year this year. They didn't make the tournament, but you've got like Roosevelt's number 1. Olivet and Nazarene is always up there too. IUSB is the 3 seed, so they will play, I believe, St. Ambrose. So that's some stuff that
IUSB
they will host
on Thursday, right?
They will host, and then IU Northwest is the 4 seed, and they're playing St. X. So St. Xavier out of Chicago. It's a Chicagoland conference. Most of the teams are, all I remember is we're on that toll road a bunch heading for Chicago.
Yeah, no, and I've done probably 10 or 12 of their games. The IU South Bend men's team has a lot of South Bend flavor to it. Their best player is Dejan Barney, a 6'9" post player out of South Bend Riley, who's really athletic and really, really good. Has a chance once he graduates. He's a senior this year, and once he graduates, he'll have a chance to play in Europe if he wants to.
I think so. And we mentioned that on the women's side, IUSB's women are the number 1 seed. They're 19-1, and we'll talk to Coach here in a little bit.
Yeah, no, we're going to talk to Steve Bruce, who's a great coach, and the other South Bend players on that team are Quintez Columbus, who played at Adams, transferred from Manchester College. He's a junior. Jalen Petty, South Bend, Washington, a really good player, South Bend, Washington.
I actually had him in class. I had him as a freshman in gym class when I was in Washington.
He's about 6'6", went to Kaskaskia Junior College. He's a major player on that IU South Bend team. So, yeah, I mean, a great time of the year for college tournaments and obviously high school tournaments.
Well, we need to finish up the girls' state finals were this past weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Lanesville dominating 1A right now. 2nd year in a row that they've been state champs. They beat Michigan City Marquette 51-43.
And who's a Lanesville graduate that we both know?
The guy on TV from Indianapolis, Rakestraw.
Greg Rakestraw, man. Come on.
Yep. So we get a lot. You get a lot of Southern
that
Indiana
chemo stuff that you had on your face. That didn't do anything to your brain. Speaking of that, Magic Mind.
I'm working on it.
No, seriously, I'm taking it.
You're taking it? Is it
my son-in-law sent me, some stuff, some product. Is it helping me? Are you kidding me?
I can't remember.
No, I can. I can give you the starting lineup for the 69 Cubs.
Oh, I'm sure
right now.
Right now.
Right now. The Magic Mind has been amazing. There it is right there, magicmind.com.
Isn't it amazing how you
/Ron.
throw in these little commercials every once in a while.
Use the code for 20% off.
I hear you. There you go.
There you go, man.
Evidently it works.
The ads are better when they kind of just flow naturally.
Just flow. No, that's exactly what it was.
Call that a flow. Huh?
That's just a flow ad. But anyway,
good segue.
Anyway, Ron Santo, Don Kessinger, Glenn Beckert, Ernie Banks from third to first.
Okay.
Left field, Billy Williams, Don Young, Johnny Callison. Outfield, left to right.
Wow.
Randy Hundley to catcher.
I could have done most of those except center field and right field.
All right.
I could have.
Kenny
the 2023 Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 2023, right.
I could. My wife could probably give you the 75 Reds.
How did we get off on this, man? Continue.
I'm trying to do the 2A. Fort Wayne Bishop Lures beat up on Brownstown. Now Brownstown's got a good thing going down there. It's just a little west of Seymour, and they've got some. It's a great 2A school. The girls are doing well. Ran into they're going to be calling. They were the best public school team. I can guarantee that because that's how Southern Indiana works. But Bishop Lures, Fort Wayne beat them 44-36. 3A, Gibson Southern, which is down toward Evansville, beat Norwell, which everybody thought Norwell was going to be the team. But it was actually number 2 versus number 3. So it was a legit game, 63-60.
So who was number 1 in 3A that got beat?
Hamilton Heights the week before over at Huntington. And then in what I call the big girls, Lawrence Central beat up on our Lake Central team up here in the region, 55-28. Lawrence Central got better, and they were good to start with.
Who's the boys coach at Lawrence Central?
Your boy from Anderson in Phil Washington.
Yeah, you don't need Magic Mind. I'm just saying.
But for the
Philly Washington, man.
For the girls,
he's the boys coach.
Yeah, for the girls, Lanesville and Gibson Southern, with the success factor, they'll move up next year. So Lanesville will be a 2A. Gibson Southern will move up to 4. They mentioned Silver Creek's had some success, but Silver Creek will back up to 3A from 4. And then up here in our area, South Bend, Washington, the question about them, they will stay 4A because they were regional champs last year and sectional champs this year. So those are some of the questions people have. But Lanesville will bump up to 2A, so watch out because watch out, Greg Rakestraw. You're going to 2A, man.
They're
going to 2A, and I think they'll do some damage there too.
Hey, why don't you get to a commercial? I'm going to get the great Norman Anderson on the line here. We're going to talk Liberty Christian and single A basketball.
All right, well, Scott, I'm going to lead up with the Frick's Driving School, and then you can hit us with some of the other commercials. Frick's Driving School here in town, 574-256-0650. It's a main driving school here in the Mishawaka, South Bend area.
And if you talk to my wife, she would tell you I need to go to driving school.
Probably. Well,
so let me ask my kid, do I need driving school? No. He said no right there.
He just I hope he brought some money for food.
He just knows that I'm buying his dinner. That's why. That's why he said.
So, Scott, take care of the rest of these. We'll be back with some of our phone guests.
Okay. So if you are looking for some performance apparel, oh gosh, where'd my screen go? Why am I not there anymore? Oh, there I am. Whatever. Okay. I guess I didn't do a transparent background, but anyway, it's Mailreg, mailreg.com/IND Coaches Corner. Get you 10% off, free shipping basically. And then the other one was Magic Mind, which they already talked about. It's memory aid. Use the code Ron for 20% off. And I guess while they get everybody on the phone, I will hit this video and come right back.
Andy Kern is a real estate broker with Weichert Realtors, Jim Dunfee and Associates. The office is locally owned but has big company resources behind it that many smaller real estate offices just don't have. Whether you're selling your 5th house or buying your starter home, Andy can help. He has 6 years of real estate experience and is a lifelong St. Joe County resident. Jim Dunfee and Associates has decades of local experience. Call or text broker Andy Kern at 574-386-4479 for great local service. He is the Colonel. James Carpenter is a real estate broker with Weichert Realtors, Jim Dunfee and Associates. The office is locally owned, but it has big company resources behind it that many smaller real estate offices just don't have. Whether you're selling your 5th house or buying your starter home, James can help. James is a South Bend lifer and has 6 years of real estate experience. Jim Dunfee and Associates has decades of local experience. Call or text broker Jim Carpenter at 574-292-CARP. That's 292-2277 for great local service. Frick's Driving School has been named the best driving school in Michiana. Frick's was started in 1960 and is located on Edison Road in Mishawaka. If your child is 15, you can get them started at Frick's. There are multiple instructors available for your driving lessons. Check out the broadcastsport.net main page and click on the Frick's icon to get more information. There you can find out more information and instructions to enroll your new driver. Frick's Driving School, a proud sponsor of Coach's Corner on broadcastsport.net.
Kaurich Chiropractic and Wellness Center. When your body needs somebody to help.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kaurich, and I want to invite you to stop by my office on Cleveland Road in South Bend, just east of Portage Avenue. I've been serving Michiana for over 20 years, specializing in back pain, neck pain, headaches, naturally with gentle chiropractic care. Come see me for a free consultation.
Kaurich Chiropractic and Wellness Center. When your body needs somebody to help.
Oh man, are you kidding me? We are back on this. Some people might call it a show. Some people might call it a disaster. I prefer to call it a show. We're here. We are with one of my just all-time favorite players of all time, Norman Anderson. Norm, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, Coach. Thanks for having me on the show, man.
Oh no, Norm. I think Norman was about a 3-year starter. He was, I don't know, maybe 5'7", 5'8", one of the quickest dudes I ever coached. Eric Bush, Norman Anderson, that kind of quickness. Right. Did you ever play against us, Pat, when we had Norman?
I think you did. I know
because Dejuan Sawyer Davis played when we played at Adams.
Yes, that's right then. Yep.
Did you play when we went to Adams to play, Norm?
I did not, Coach. I was not. We didn't play Adams.
Oh, okay. So were you and Day the same year?
We're a year apart. So Day's a year younger than me. He was 06. I was 05. I think that may have happened the year after I had graduated.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, exactly. Because Day was a senior. Okay. So man, you were just so tough and so quick and took a lot of pride in guarding people and didn't let anybody score on you. Talk about your days of being an Anderson Indian just for about a minute or two, and then we're going to get into your coaching gig, man.
Okay. So, again, Coach, thank you for all you've done for me. You're a pivotal piece and part of my life that, helped me get to that next level. So, first of all, I want to thank you for that and everything you've done for me. But those are some of the best days of my life, and I tell the kids now, they have no clue of what a Friday and or Saturday night was like in Anderson, Indiana, and playing basketball at the Wigwam, the greatest place on earth to play basketball. I haven't been nowhere. I've been all over the world, and the Wigwam is the greatest place to play ball. Yeah,
without question, you're just 1,000% right. I mean, the number of students that would pack that place out, in the city of Anderson, it was really an event. I mean, guess who's sitting here with me as we're doing the show today?
Who's that?
Bugsy, my kid Bugsy. You remember Bugsy, right? He was just like a little dude, man.
I remember you bought Bugsy some shoes. It was a camp, and he came in there. Those things were about like a size 10, and he was running and falling and flipping all the way around. And to see him grow into the young man he is today is awesome.
Yeah, no, and to see him grow into that, he's like 6'3" now, about 230, and he's just a great kid. But now let's talk about this deal now. I mean, you go to Wabash Valley, you play, you have a college experience of playing. You play in tournaments everywhere then in the summertime. And then you start coaching a little bit, and you get this head coaching job at Liberty Christian High School in Anderson, Indiana. Talk about Liberty Christian for a minute.
So Liberty, it's been a blessing for me to get that job and just to be around. And I came back to Anderson because, I wanted to help the young kids there, and I knew what it was like, and I knew what it takes. And I had somebody there for me, which you were one of those persons. I wanted to be that guy for a lot of these kids who doesn't see and who doesn't know the way, and just kind of share some of my experience and just give back. At the end of the day, it's just been a ministry for me, Coach.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to put it.
Pretty well put.
Right?
Yes, I agree.
I mean, so in the city of Anderson has a lot of players, and so I know some people, Donna and Kim Wood, and Donna's always telling me Norman's stealing our players and blah blah blah. But you know what I say? I say there's enough players to go around for Anderson High School and Liberty Christian, and talented kids don't need to sit on anybody's bench because there's always a place for them to go. And you've put together a great program where now kids come to you and they want to come play for you, right?
And not only is the basketball program, I speak about just the educational piece that you're getting there. It's just a good environment, and most importantly, just that Christian environment. And me, myself, just growing in my Christian faith, it's been great for me. It's been great for a ton of students. I actually, two of my kids, one just won a regional tournament up in Juliet, and he was a student athlete of the last 2 months. His name is Eric Troutman Jr.
Yeah, I remember him. I do remember him.
Yep. So he was our starting point guard the last 3 years, and he just won the regional championship. So they're in the national tournament up at Juliet, and then another one, Kobe Watson, who was another kid that came over, and he's doing fantastic at Kellogg College. They just won a regional tournament as well. He was the most outstanding player, put up a double-double in the championship game. So the proof is in the pudding, and it's bigger than basketball, Coach. It's bigger than basketball, and that's what I tell my kids.
Yeah, I think that's is really a great way to put it. And what you're starting to do is you're starting to create a legacy in Anderson, Indiana. And when you get players that are now playing at the next level, and they can come back and talk to your current players, I think that's huge. I really like what you did with your schedule this year. Now you're a 1A school. And so 9 of your opponents are either 4A schools or 3A schools. And, you could play 22 1A schools and go undefeated and be 22-0 because that's how talented you are. But I think you have this idea that, to be successful in the tournament, all these 4A and these 3A schools that you've played and the competition is really going to help you once you get to this tournament tomorrow night, right?
Yeah. So not only, it goes beyond the state tournament. I got a lot of kids that has aspirations of playing, college ball. So I don't want to give a false reality of, what it is, and it's a lot of good ball players in the city of Anderson. And my motto is to be the best, you got to beat the best. And if you're telling me you want to be the best, you got to beat those guys. And again, like you said, Coach, I could have put together a schedule that would have won us 20 games. But what does that really do for us? We've been battle tested. We played. At the time, Noblesville was number 1 in the state. Brownsburg was number 2. We played Anderson when they were top 10. We played Guerin Catholic, who won the state championship last year. They were top 5 in 3A. And my boys have been battle tested. And as the season progressed, those boys have gotten better. And I'm super duper excited for the start of the tournament tomorrow.
Yeah. So talk about when you played Lawrence Central and you and your really good friend, Phil Washington, went at it with each other. Talk about that game a little bit.
Oh, that was awesome. That was great for the city, for the culture of Anderson and the culture of just Anderson basketball, to have Phil back, to bring his boys back in, to have my boys, and we just go at it all in the name of love, and that's a culture that I preach to my kids. It's love one another. And Phil is a brother of mine. He was a mentor to me on the basketball court. And, he gave me one of my first coaching jobs, in the summertime. So it was just a blessing to go and just battle against his kids. And I knew it was going to be tough for our guys, but, we got a young team and, Phil got some guys who've been through the fire. And, it was just good. It was good for the city. It was great for the city.
Make sure that you pull this up on YouTube because we have a great picture of you coaching in practice here with your guys, on the YouTube portion of this. Now, so you just said that about you and Phil. So I got to tell you a little story. Morgan Wooten, who was the longtime coach at DeMatha High School, and this, we went up to DeMatha in Washington, D.C. and played the game for organ donation awareness. And up to the whole game, man, Morgan was patting me on the back. Hey, heck, this game is going to be just for organ donation awareness. We're going to raise so much money. It's going to be such a great game. And their starting guards were Joe Forte and Keith Bogans, who played in the league for I don't know, 10 years. And so I bought into it, man. At the start of the game, I'm saying, oh, yeah, don't worry if the score is big. Don't worry about that. It's for the love of the kids. And the tip-off, 10 seconds into the game, I look down at Morgan Wooten. His face is beat red as he's screaming at the officials already. And you know what I said? Forget the love, man.
It's time to play.
For 32 minutes, man, I'm coming after you. And then we can do the love fest when the game's over, right?
That's right.
All right, so obviously you're the favorite in your sectional. You're rated number 1 in your sectional. And you got Anderson Prep. You're 13-9. Anderson Prep can't bust a grape. They're 4-15. Obviously, you'll beat them, right?
Coach, I tell my boys.
I'm setting you up, man. I know what you're going to say.
Don't say anything.
We lace them all up the same way, and it's March Madness. Anybody can be beat, and and they got to go out there, and that's how they have to play. They can't overlook nobody.
Yeah,
and that's why I've been preaching. It's one game at a time, fellas.
And that and that game's at Tri-Central, and then Tri-Central will play the winner of your game. Tri-Central at 13-9 also, and in the other bracket, Daleville at 12-9, Cowan at 10-11. Those two Madison County schools can bang it out, and then play the winner of your game against Tri-Central in the championship. I think it'll be a great tournament for you, man.
It'll be a really, really good tournament for us. Like I said, I was glad that we were able to get that first game, on Tuesday, tomorrow night. And when you start 3 freshmen, I want to get the jitters out the way. They've never been in a situation, of Indiana high school basketball. They've been in some big time situations. So it's just exciting to get that game out of the way. And, like I said, we all lace them up the same way. And, you look over nobody.
Well, if you think about it, too, he gets them out of the way on Tuesday night because he's going to have to play. If he wins, Tri-Central is probably the next best team in the sectional. If you're going to win the sectional, you're going to have to beat Tri-Central.
On Friday night.
Yeah.
On Friday night, yep.
So that'll be a fun one.
Hey, listen, man, I can't tell you how proud I am of you. I can't tell you just so happy that you're in this profession, man, and that you're in it for the right reasons, and you're in it for the kids, man. Please give your wife a hug for me. Your little daughter. She'll be a baller someday, right?
Oh yeah, she loves basketball. She sits here and she watches my games, and she goes and she gets so into it. And sometimes, she gets a little bit into it, and she gets a little attitude. She's a little diva, She doesn't like when daddy loses. And when daddy loses, she wants to go after players and coaches and officials.
Oh man, that is so cool.
But I love it. She loves it.
Treasure these times, man. Treasure them, brother.
We'll do, Coach. We'll do.
Hey, listen, I'll be thinking about you. Good luck tomorrow night. And I already told you, you win the sectional, no matter where you're playing in the regional. Monica and I will come watch you play, man.
All right, Coach. I'm going to hold you to that again. Thank you guys for having me on. It was a pleasure.
I love you, Norm. See you, man.
Love you too, Coach. All right. Bye-bye.
That is the great Norman Anderson. And let me tell you a little story. And you can relate to this.
Sure.
Because you've coached for a lot of years. So Norman's senior year, we're playing Muncie Central in the sectional game at Richmond. And it's a first round. We're good, and Muncie Central's good. Well, Norman was a great defensive player, but he wasn't a great scorer from the perimeter. And in short, he couldn't shoot. Okay. So the first 5 shots of the game, Norman takes.
Hey, Coach, I'm open.
I call a TO. We're down 10-0 already, man. I call a TO. He comes over there. I said, Norm, what are you doing? He said, Coach, they ain't guard me. I said, Norm, they're not going to guard you because that's the scouting report.
Yeah.
If you take another shot that ain't a layup the rest of the game. Oh man, he was a tough-ass defender,
Did
though.
The scouting report say you were pretty good?
Yeah, no, the scouting report said we were really good, and it was us in Muncie Central.
And it's because Norman was a defensive player, not a three-point shooter.
No, he got the ball to a kid named Dejavon Sawyer Davis, who was really good and was on the Indiana All-Star game.
He's your Indiana All-Star.
Hey, I'm going to get Robbie Berger on the line here.
Okay.
Why don't you maybe do your Fricks game of the week?
Scott, let's talk about Fricks, and we'll jump to college basketball. So where's my little car? Throw John in here with us. He'll enjoy some of this. Fricks Driving School, road team of the week. We had a bunch of good ball games over the weekend. All college games. These are teams that won on the road. All these were conference games, by the way. For example, North Carolina beat UVA 54-44. Scott, you got the Houston game. I thought that Houston game at Baylor was a dandy. And Houston was, nip and tuck, and then eventually they ended up winning at Baylor.
Hey, Rob.
So and then the other game I looked at, I got him. And then a lot of you watched this one. They said it's going to be the last game in quite a while. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. They call it the Bedlam game. Got him. McCallum hits a 3 at the buzzer, and OU wins 84-82 at Oregon State at Stillwater, or at Oklahoma State. That was a dandy also.
Stillwater's right.
The game that I am going to pick, and this is basically for Scott, was last night in East Lansing.
Izzo who?
Diebler has won 2 out of 3. Ohio State, I think we had it on tape earlier. 6 seconds left, tie game. Ohio State comes down the floor, hits a 3 at the buzzer, and wins 60-57 at the buzzer. So I'm going to pick Ohio State as my Fricks Driving School team of the week. So
isn't that something?
John, did you watch did you watch any of the college games yesterday in between both take?
Yeah, actually I did. I watched that Michigan State game, and I was just shocked at how they let that one slip away. Really surprised.
And they talked about Michigan State still trying to find a big man. There's Michigan State still trying to find a big man. So,
well, I would have thought that Xavier Booker would have had a better showing, but
I agree with you, Scott. I thought Booker would do better, but
you're going to bring Rob on.
Yep. All right. Well, we got Robb Berger on.
We got the great Robb Berger. Robbie, how you doing, man?
We're going to talk to Robbie some high school basketball.
Robbie, how you doing?
Ron, I think you dialed the wrong number. This is Rob's old man.
Oh, he's got Dad on. We can talk to Dad.
Hey, how you doing, Coach? You good?
I think I hear you, Pat.
Yeah, you good, Coach?
I hear you, Pat. I just wonder, Pat, did you get all your housework done today?
Yeah, I did. I actually emptied. That's an inside joke from Friday. I saw him over there.
Yes, it is. That's an inside joke.
I actually emptied the dishwasher today. I got that.
Oh, well, hey,
and I took the trash out.
All right, hey, listen, Coach, I got to get Robbie on, man. He's still coaching. You're retired.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna hang it.
I couldn't get you. All right, take care.
I'll see you this week.
You got to be kidding.
That's funny. That's funny. Well,
that's terrible. The terrible being I'm a producer on this.
I know.
Mobile.
Scott, hey,
iPhone.
We got college. I can talk some more college real quick. Big East stuff. We got, my poor Butler Bulldogs.
Here's what I wanted to ask you.
Hold on.
What do you think is the reason why Xavier Booker can't seem to get on the court for Michigan State?
That's a good point.
Is it a development thing? Because I mean, he was number 1 player in Indiana. I think he was a top 5 player in the country last year, but just can't seem to get it to get going this year.
I wish I knew. They said they tried to get him on the floor yesterday. He played 5 or 6 minutes there in the early second half. Yeah, and they even mentioned that they're trying to get him more minutes, and down the stretch, Michigan State needed an inside presence, and they did not have it. Probably what cost them the ball game.
Hey, listen, man, we got the great Robbie Berger on. Robbie, what's happening, man?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Well, we just talked to your dad.
You won't believe this. I made the call. I see Berger on my contact list. I punch it in. Your dad comes up, man. he goes, hey guys, I'm pretty sure you got the wrong burger here, but let's chat it up for a minute.
So we got his opinions about the sectional.
Yeah, so we had him on for a second. Listen, man, 12-game winning streak. 12-game winning streak started 4-8, and in that start at 4-8, you I mean, the level of competition that you played was off the charts. You played really, really good people. Could you see it start to swing in your practices? After you started 4-8, and then you got on that streak.
Well, that's one thing that was kind of nice about this team, even all the way 2-6 to 4-8. We always practiced pretty well. I mean, we practiced hard from the beginning. I was just starting to get you get worried when you're in games. We were a possession in every game in the fourth quarter of all those games, and we still we couldn't pull them out. So you start to worry a little bit about are they going to kind of take their intensity drop a little bit in practice, and it never did. I mean, even from the beginning until the end, and I was just happy that they were able to get some wins, and then the practicing was kind of off the chart. This is a pretty good practicing team we have, and I'm just glad the wins started coming for them.
So I did your Penn and Marian game at Marian, and you had won 3 games prior to that game. And as I was looking at the strength of schedule with both you and Penn, you had a much tougher strength of schedule. And then I started looking at your ability to defend, and you were holding people. Right now, you're holding people to 43 points a game without stalling, without holding the ball. That's just, that's straight up defense. And so as you went through that streak where you weren't winning, the one constant you always had was your ability to defend. And when things started to change, and then you won 9 straight after that Penn game, your ability to defend was obviously off the charts.
Yeah, that was always, from the beginning, and we're finally able to put some, points on the board, which helped. You'd hope hold teams to 43 points a game. You'd win a lot of those, and early on we weren't. We were still holding teams, and finally we started, getting some points on the board. Shots started falling. We started executing better, getting better shots, and as the offense picked up a little bit, the defense, stayed the same, or you maybe got a little better, and we were able to, win games. I think we're winning by an average about 10 a game right now. And, at the end, at the beginning of the year, we were losing by about 2 or 3. So, offensively, once that started going, it just kind of, helped us win some games.
Winning your last 9 games of the year. Now, and I don't know if you remember this, but when I talked to you the night of that Penn game, I really liked the look of your schedule coming down the season. And obviously you couldn't say anything back to me because you got your brains worried about Penn and all that stuff. But I remember winking at you and saying, hey, man, you're going to win the last 9 here, and you're going to tie for the conference. He just kind of looked at me and said, okay, heck, all right, heck. But guess what, man? That's exactly what you did.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, and I kind of blew you off and thought you were crazy. But
he's a crazy man. I've been called crazy before, and you know your guy. When Harry Carey and your guy, Jimmy Pearsall, when Harry Carey said, Jimmy, you're crazy, Jimmy Pearsall would say, I got papers to prove it, Harry.
You got to understand the source, right, Rob?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hey, I'm looking here. You guys have been so even with St. Joe, and now you've got to go over to Washington and play in that sectional. You've been around long enough that gym at Washington shouldn't be a factor. Can your kids play over there comfortably? What do you think about that?
Well, we've played there once this year. We did play Washington at Washington, but Pat, like always, that sectionals, regardless of class, is one of the toughest ones in Northern Indiana. And as far as history goes, we've reminded our kids plenty in the last 2 days. Just last year when we beat Washington by whatever in the regular season, and they got us in the sectional. So, no way, or we look past anything, because all we got to do is look at history. And Washington at Washington is going to be a tough game. We know it. It was the same way last year. So, I don't expect anything different. It's going to be it'll be a 32-minute game, and we'll have to make some plays to win it at the end if we expect to win.
Yeah, then you got St. Joe in the bye bracket if you beat Washington, and in the bottom bracket you have New Prairie against Jimtown. Jimtown, I mean, has played really well here during the season.
And they when we played them, they played really well.
Right.
I mean, they got big guys. One of them shoots it really, really well. They've got guards that can handle the ball. They're even playing well without their leading scorer's been out for about the last few weeks. So.
Right, he sure has. They've been playing well without Faye. The bracket didn't do you any favors. If we're talking to you next week as the sectional champ, you and your team have definitely earned this one, because you guys are gonna have to play the best 3 teams to get through all of this. So, good luck.
Thanks. Yeah,
I will be there. I will be there. So I get to do the whole sectional. So I'll be up there watching every game. I saw the Adams game the other night too. I thought your kids took care of business. I didn't think they did anything special. You got off to a good start, but I just thought after that you just sustained the rest of the game and got some business taken care of and kept your lead. And I mean, that's part of winning right now.
Hey.
Yeah.
Talking about special, man. Give me a little synopsis of the Southside Hitmen. What's your talk on the Sox this year, man? They got anything?
Oh God, no. I'm waiting for the A's to move to Vegas. I think I'm going to become a Las Vegas A's fan. I mean, they don't even have a pitching staff. I don't know if they have anyone up the middle. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's frustrating. It's even worse than being a Cub fan, I think.
Hey, Coach, you can it's Scott. You can join me as a Rangers fan. I was an estranged White Sox fan, and then I moved to Texas, and guess what? My team just won the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that. I've never minded the Rangers. I mean, you can't go wrong with Nolan Ryan and some of those guys. Maybe I have to do have to switch, because I'm getting too old for being a White Sox fan. It gets
are the Dylan Cease trade rumors true? Do you think it's going to happen?
If it's true, who are they going to throw? They're running. They don't even have anyone. I mean, who else do they have? Him and Kopech. I mean,
and he can never stay healthy.
No, and that Crochet, they're talking about moving him to the starting lineup.
I think he was a starter when he was at Tennessee, but I mean, he had the Tommy John in the first round of the 1 year they won the playoffs, and didn't even dress last year.
I was actually at the game when they were in the playoffs. The one win against the Astros, I was actually at that game.
That was electric.
There you go, man. There you go. So we've taken your mind off of this game for about 2 minutes with the Southside Hitmen, and now you can go back and maybe And I will tell you this much: you had a great conversation with your dad. Wasn't planning on that, but your dad sounds great, man. All right, hey, listen, Rob. Good luck tomorrow night. Thanks for taking a minute and jumping on with us, man.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
Okay. Hey, good luck tomorrow.
And Robbie Berger is just a great coach. He's a great defensive coach. He loves that. He loves the 2-3
and throws a little 1-3-1 in there to keep you off balance.
If he's got a guy that can play the top, he'll throw that 1-3-1.
He puts a big, tall, long kid out there at the top.
Yes,
but it's still his 2-3 zone. He just lines up differently.
Yeah, no, it's the same
rules.
But he'll tell you his zone. I mean, his zone presence came from a coach at Frankton High School, Calvin Bailey. Calvin Bailey was on my staff my first year, and Robbie was on my staff my first year at Anderson. And Calvin and Robbie got to be really good friends. And Calvin showed Robbie the zone. Calvin showed Robbie the flex offense and all the intricacies of it. And Robbie was a great listener, a great student. And he's a great coach. He's closing in on I believe 400 wins.
He's got a bunch of them. He's basically the senior member right now of the coaches. Now that Coach Rhodes retired.
Yeah, and I still call him Little Robbie Berger. I call him Little Robbie Berger.
Well, I understand.
I know. And listen, I'm gonna get Joey Bradburn on, the great Joey.
He's 303 and 99 at Marian, 403 and 198 overall.
Yeah, so he is over 400.
400. He's chasing you.
Yeah. No, let him go, man.
Or two. He'll pass you up. He passed me up about 5 years ago.
All right, I'm gonna get Joey, man.
Scott, we're gonna do some college stuff. I was just gonna mention.
Did I want to put John? Do you want to come back in? Nod your head if you want to come back in and talk about the Tigers. Oops. Hey, you have to unmute yourself.
John does. I've got
John, you're muted. You muted yourself. You have to do it.
Now I'm here. There we are.
There you are.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if the Tigers will win the division, but I think they'll be in the top two. They've got some pitching.
Hey, Jack, I don't know if the Tigers will win a game. All right.
Oh, baloney.
All right.
See, I had him on mute. I couldn't help it. He found the mute button. Heck, found the mute button.
I bet he did, didn't he?
So yeah, and we're like next week or one of these next couple of weeks. Scott's got his brother-in-laws planned to come on. We're going to talk some baseball with Jordan and Justin Skoglund and Eric. Yeah, and I get between
Justin's
the three. I got two of the three right. Yeah. So, but we're going to get some talk. But Detroit, who knows? Who knows?
You never know. It was like the Lions. They have been so bad for so many years. Look at them this year.
The Tigers have a new TV play-by-play guy.
Yeah, I saw that.
Jason Benetti, stolen from the White Sox.
Yeah, exactly.
Mainly because Jerry Reinsdorf kills everything he touches.
Hey, Johnny, I'm just going to say this much, Johnny. Enjoy your Detroit Lions because the Bears are back. The Bears are back next year. Caleb Williams, Brock Bowers, the 6'7" tight end. Enjoy your Lions, all right?
They're not going to draft Marvin Harrison?
And NFC North champs again.
All right. Well, I'll throw a hunt on that with you. I'll throw a hunt.
Here we go.
I mean, you want to go 100 on that?
I'll take 100 on that. Absolutely.
That's 100 right there.
All right. Talk to Coach Bradburn. Please save us here.
We have the great Joey Bradburn on here, who's just a great high school basketball coach. Played for me at the University of Wapahani. Isn't that right, Joe?
Exactly. Anybody know where that's at?
Yeah, the east side of Muncie, man. The University of Wapahani.
Wapahani?
I say my wife's an Alexandria girl, so I won't tell you.
So she knows exactly where Wapahani's at.
Yeah, that's not what she calls it, but go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Joe, they can crack on us, right?
Yeah, respect that way.
Back then, Alexandria was pretty good.
Joe, they can crack on us, right? But at the end of the day, we can talk about all the Wapahani players that are gracing the hardwood in the state of Indiana right now in coaching. We can talk about Matt Luce's Wapahani team that is really good this year, right?
Yeah, they're very good. They've been good for a lot of years, and I think Matt just won his 300th game at Wapahani this like a week ago or so.
Yeah, so all that wipe my hiney stuff, hey, I'm going to punch my partner right there.
I'm just the messenger.
I'm going to punch him, man.
I'm just the messenger.
They got to be at least original. We've kind of heard that.
Yeah, we've heard that. We heard that before, I can't even go back to those days because we'll be talking for about an hour.
That's back like the Blackford County drive-in stories.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, Mount Vernon, man, 15-8. Your first year there. You're coming off of a stellar career at Greenwood High School, a stellar career at Indianapolis Cecina with me as an assistant coach.
Yeah, you guys were partners in crime over there, weren't you?
We had a head coach that wouldn't listen to us, but hey, that's all right, man. We made it through. Joe.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, a stellar career at Huntington North. Just a great career at DeKalb. A Final Four career at Yorktown High School. So it's been a plethora of great schools, and now you're at Mount Vernon. Talk about your first year at Mount Vernon and how that went down.
Yeah, I've been blessed to be at a lot of the schools you just talked about. Had a great time at all of them, and Mount Vernon was an opportunity to come back close to home. And we've lived in this community for about 13, 14 years, and that was first and foremost. I wanted to get this way, but I was also blessed with a lot of good players this first year. We have Luke Ertl. He's been out for the first 18 games this year. Was last year's leading scorer, leading rebounder, leading assist guy. So we had to go without him for quite a bit this year. But Julian Smith is another dynamic sophomore guard, and that tandem right now, both of them are scoring about 14 points and leading us in rebounding and assist as well. So. Have a lot of sophomores in our program. Brady Fitzgerald is a senior. He's a brother to Kyle Guy, and he has just added just a dimension to us that in a first year, it's amazing for me to have a guy that has shown such leadership. I can't really explain it. I've taken over 4 or 5 programs like you mentioned, but in a short amount of time, Brady has a high IQ. He's picked up everything we do. he has become a player coach on the floor for us and just guided us in every way. And he's kind of been a defensive stopper for us. So those three guys are the core of who leads us right now, and I've had a good time with them.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting that you put it like that, because in your years of me coaching you, that sounds like a carbon copy of you, of how you learned everything. I mean, how you were the leader, how you made people go, and now to be able to coach a kid like that, that's got to be phenomenal, huh?
I'm having a blast. We have such a connection on the floor. Way back when, like you and I did, Coach. I mean, just how fun it is when you have somebody just like in tune with what you want to do, and they're looking over at the sideline, making sure that exactly you're on the same page, and then they're able to just go out there and instinctively do a lot of things after you talked about things. So Brady's just added a different dimension that I have had a blast with this year.
Yeah. So did you put red in by any chance for him? And you know what red is, the backdoor lob for the point guard to get a lob, right?
That would be another thing that Brady and I would have in common, because I don't think that's his forte either.
Yeah, no. So Pat, we ran this little play where we back screen the point guard, make a pass, clear the side out, back screen, throw a little lob pass to the point guard coming over for a wide open layup. We ran it like 5 times for Joey. Joey was 1 for 5.
1 for 5.
And we almost quickly made a different play out of it, right, Joe?
Throw it to the bottom of the backboard, right?
I thought we did it once, and I blew it so bad we didn't run it again.
That's funny, man.
That's my side of it.
That's your take. All right, no, and your take is probably correct, honestly. So let's look at your section, man. As we were studying sectionals, Pat and I, we've concluded that yours is one of the top 3 toughest sectionals in the state of Indiana. And you talk about, I mean, on Tuesday night, tomorrow night, you play New Pal. You're 15-8, and New Pal is 19-5. But just, I don't know, 10 days ago, you beat New Pal 66-44. What was that the injection of your player that was hurt and he came back and played in that game? Did he play in that game?
Yeah, he did. And there's a combination of a few things. First of all, they had a player that was out, one of their starters, Ben Slagley, and they're going to count on him. I'm sure he'll be ready to go tomorrow night. Had something with his hip going on, but I think Luke has injected, like you said, just an energy. He plays with such an urgency, sense of urgency, some intensity, and that's made all our guys more aware, more excited, and defensively we're flying at things a lot more than what we were earlier in the year. Offensively, he sets the tone because he gets the ball in and out. And we've had more paint touches in the last 4 games than we had the entire season. And that's directly related to Luke. Just makes everybody play at ease and just takes a lot of pressure off with his passing. And he's the type of a player that if we set things up, he could get 25 to 30 a night. I mean, that's just his skill level. But he's okay to just have balance, and he enjoys setting his teammates up, and that's what's made us more effective. And then we brought up a freshman about 3 or 4 games ago, and he's a 6'5" freshman that has just added a different dimension because he knows the next pass. He's got a good feel for the game, his instincts. He keeps the ball high and gives us some length inside. So that's changed us in the last 4 or 5 games going down the stretch, and that's going to be big for this week because we know New Pal is going to throw different things at us. First of all, the kids back, and then second of all, they're going to throw some different defensive things at us. We know that's what's coming. So it ought to be an interesting game tomorrow night. But it is, you're right, it's one of the tougher sectionals, and hopefully our schedule's prepared so that we played number 1, 2, 3, and 6, and whatever in the state. We played Fishers, we played Westville, we played Noblesville, we played Greenfield Central. They're undefeated. So we've had a very, very tough, challenging schedule to hopefully get us prepared. And Luke has come back, and hopefully he's in a good enough rhythm to keep us rolling.
Let me ask you this question: So what grade is Luke in?
He's a sophomore.
Man!
So he's got a freshman and a sophomore.
Oh, and your best player, and theoretically your best player is a sophomore. You got another great sophomore guard. So you got stuff rolling there for a while, right?
Yeah, we have those two sophomore guards they're our staple, and then we have a lot of other sophomores that are around them, and then like we just talked about our freshman kids. So we have one senior. Brady's our only senior that we have on our team right now.
So life is good at the Bradburn crib, right?
Things are good.
Yeah, good. Hey, so then
can't complain.
So then Pendleton Heights, the bottom of the brackets got,
the bottom of the bracket. You're talking about great teams. Richmond 20-3 will play Muncie Central, who's on hard times now a little bit now.
Right.
And Greenfield's they're the last undefeated team, aren't they? I believe they're not. If they're not the only one, they're one of the last ones. And then the Indians are down there too.
New Pal has the state's leading scorer. I believe he still is. Julius Gizzi's averaging like 30.5 a game or something like that. And then you have on the other side, like you said, Greenfield. They have the Mullins kid that torched us pretty good in the first game. He's scoring a lot of points this year too. But then Anderson and Richmond, they've had great years, and so that bottom half's going to be really good. And don't forget about Joe Buck in the top half either. I mean, he's
come tourney time, Joe. Yeah. Joe will have something for you.
He's going to be prepared. He's going to have a defensive plan, and then I think that they understand who they are and they have their role definition as well as anybody in the tournament. So they're going to be a tough game as well.
Well, we certainly want to wish you the best of luck, man. You've always, you're one of my guys from the jump, man, right from the start. And you and I have been really close, and I think about you a lot. We worked together for 4 or 5 years, and we want to wish you the best tomorrow night. I'll be thinking about you, man.
I appreciate it. I thought we were going to talk about our Christmas parties and our, going in snowbanks around Wapahani and all that stuff. But we just went straight business tonight, which is okay.
No, because I'm still rocking the mullet a little bit, not much anymore, but party in the back, business in front. All right, man.
It's more of a piece of straw. It looks like a hay bale.
No, it's moss. I don't even call it hair anymore. It's moss.
I learned a long time ago. I don't mess with Coach Heck's hair. I learned that so long ago.
Well, tonight's the first night he hadn't. I don't know. You'd have to check this out on YouTube and check out his John Lennon glasses tonight. He's got the Yoko Onos on.
Yeah, I got a little eye infection. But you know what I tell my kids, that when they were little, I would always say, do not worry if there's a tornado. If there's a storm, just grab my hair. I got enough hairspray on there that you're not going anywhere.
You always got a plan, don't you, Coach?
You're the best, man. Love you, man, and good luck tomorrow.
Love you, Coach.
That is a great show. Now, you talk about a guy that's got some players coming up.
Oh, my goodness.
His best players is a
freshman and sophomores.
Yes.
He's got one senior. And, of course, he doesn't want to hear that right now. He wants to know, how can I win tomorrow night?
Yeah, he wants to figure out how to beat New Pal, who he beat 66-44.
Well, and again, he mentioned that 2 of the leading scorers in the state are right there in that sectional. What do you do? Do you try to guard the best player and double team him, or do you just let him score 30 and make sure the other 4 don't beat you?
There's a couple of schools of thought, man, and you just said it right there.
Yeah,
you score, you get 35, but nobody else is getting anything.
Yeah,
or we're going to commit everything to you. And maybe somebody who can't bust a grape is going to get 15 or 16.
Yeah, I mean, and you can use Purdue as a great example, because do you guard Edie and put 3 people on him
so let me say this much. Okay, let me say this much. That's why you and me got a show.
That's why we're doing.
We don't have to answer those questions anymore, man. We answered those for 40 years.
You're exactly right.
I am going to get the great Coach Bruce on
from IUSB. And then we need to do your Purdue.
We're going to do that after IUSB.
Done. All right, Scott, we're going to talk. We're going to put John back on here. We need to get John's opinion. John, we were talking right there at Sectional 9. Your thoughts, Sectional 8, Sectional 9, Sectional 10 are all right there together in that same area. I mean, you've got probably 10 of the best 12 teams in the state in 3 sectionals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like when you go back to the girls and you look at that sectional at Fishers and Noblesville and all those teams were in. Those 4 sections you just mentioned. My goodness gracious. Greenfield Central sectional, Lawrence North, the Noblesville sectional. Those are all dynamite teams. Yeah, those are all probably the toughest in the state, especially in 4A.
Yeah, the Noblesville section, like you got numbers 1, 2, and 3 are all in the same sectional.
Absolutely. Yep.
So That'll be fun stuff. Well, we're waiting.
Don't count Carmel out. I know they're 12-10, but they're going to slow it up.
Well, yeah, and they keep beating people here since Christmas. They've got things figured out. And like you said, if Carmel gets a lead on you, you're going to hear all the people screaming for a shot clock because they'll keep that score down in the 30s. They're not going to let you have it till they're done with it. So, I mean, that's going to be some good stuff. And then you got Lawrence North, Lawrence Central, Ben Davis, and some of those.
And I heard Ben Davis is going in. I talked to a friend of mine who runs the radio station at Ben Davis High School. Talked to him today, and he said Ben Davis is fully healthy. They've been kind of had some nagging injuries this year, but they're healthy. So they think they got a really good shot to defend their title. So.
Yeah, so you look at the first 8 sectionals are considered North, and that's so sectional 9 through 16 are considered South. So that's where you're going to get where you're going to have a chance. You could have 2 Indianapolis teams in the final game.
Exactly, it's very, very, very possible.
So that's some of the stuff that's going to happen. You and I are going to be at South Bend, Washington tomorrow.
Yes, we are going to do all 5 games of the Washington sectional. Probably one of the top 3 sectionals in 3A. Obviously, we saw Marian Friday night over at Adams. As Robbie said, 12 in a row. They're playing well. They're practicing well. But I really think everybody's got to be ready for Jimtown. We've seen Jimtown, Pat, several times this year, and this is a good basketball team. Tyler has done a wonderful job with this team. You look at Jimtown. They were 8 and something last year. This year they're 12 or they were 4-18 last year. He's turned it around to 12-10 this year.
Yeah, and one of the things you got to give credit. He's still it's his team, but he's the previous coach left him with some pretty good players.
Absolutely.
They left
well,
him
and one of the things I've been impressed with Jimtown is when Dylan Fay went out. And he has been out. He hasn't played. We've seen him in street clothes most of the time, but they're still winning games without him.
Right.
Will Spurgeon's kind of picked up that role. I think Jimtown's a dark horse in this tournament because I think those top 3 teams obviously are in that top bracket. That's going to be a war up at the top. And no offense to New Prairie, but I think Jimtown will win it. And look at what Doug's done at Clay, 12-10.
And
they're playing with house money. They got nothing to lose. They're closing. This is it.
So whether it's Clay or Jimtown, just getting them in that Saturday night ball game, that'll be a mental thing because whoever comes out of that top bracket's going to have to get ready to play for the championship, and that'll be a tough call.
Yeah, it always is when you got to go through that gauntlet in the top, and in Jimtown should beat New Prairie tomorrow night. Then they're going to have to play a very tough Clay team, who obviously with Tyrese Jones averaging 20 plus points a game, and what I think is impressive about Clay, they've done it without Ahmad King and Shaq Edwards, who both are out with injuries. Their top 2 top 2 of their 3 top scorers out with injuries, and they've still been able to win a lot of ball games.
They sure have. All right, well, we're going to shift gears. We're going to go talk about some college women's basketball here.
Hey, Coach, how you doing, man?
Did you get him Bluetoothed?
I got you right there. Coach, you on?
Yes, I am.
There you go.
How are you?
Good. How's everything there?
Yeah, good. I'm sitting here on our podcast with Pat King, the old ex-coach from John Adams High School, and
Sure.
what a great year and what a great career you are having as the girls coach at IUSB. Talk about your career a little bit. This is Coach Steve Bruce, who's been the head coach at IUSB for the last 18 years. Talk about your career for a minute.
Okay, well, let me start with this. So I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, and I was at some big events in my growing up days. So every 4th of July, family would go down to the Washington Monument for the fireworks. My dad worked for General Services Administration, and he helped plan ceremonies. So he was involved with the FBI building when it was dedicated. So I was there. And also in 1966, I was at the Kentucky-Texas Western basketball game. So that's a huge event. But listen, I'm saying all that for this reason.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
This is another level here with you guys. So,
oh dear,
Don Haskins is a bear. Texas Western, man, come on.
I was at that game. I cried. I was 7 years old. I was rooting for Kentucky. They lost. I remember I cried, and But again, the Pat King and Heck podcast, I don't know if I'm ready for it, but I'll do my best. Okay.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question. So were you at the DeMatha Anderson High School game in 1997 by any chance?
I missed that one, but I heard the result. It was the Stags' only loss of the season. And I think I might know the coach of that team that beat them.
Yeah, no, that was
there's a reason he's asking you that.
No, that was phenomenal because Morgan had a liver transplant. Morgan Wood had a liver transplant a month before I did. And
yes, right.
And then he came up with this idea to let's play this organ donation game, and you can bring your Anderson team and we'll play it in the MCI Center, and this will be great, and we'll raise all this money and all that stuff. And as you well know, the guards were Joe Forte and Keith Bogans, and when they came out for warm-ups, man, I about threw up on myself. But here's go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, he didn't, growing up there, they didn't lose many games. And you think about backcourts they had, and you can go on and on. But, Sidney Lowe and Derek Wittenberg were backcourt teammates.
Oh, man, they were good, yes.
Yeah, and then they go to NC State and win the national championship. So Morgan was a legend. And, the best thing that I think I ever heard about their program was that for 30 plus years, every graduating senior, including managers, received a scholarship to college.
That's amazing. And you talk about and you talk about your legacy. Numbers define your legacy. A lot of times also, but what defines your legacy more is what your players do after they leave you. And when you look at that, and they've all gone to college, and he's taken kids that maybe their backgrounds weren't great, but they all went to college. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You got it, Coach.
Hey,
so back to your original question.
Yeah.
What was your original question?
Talk about your coaching background a little bit.
Okay. So I'll try to make this brief. I started out interested in football. And
Gene Katie. Gene Katie was a great football player.
Yes,
and a football coach for a while.
That's right.
So I went to Ohio Wesleyan University Division III school. I played football there for 4 years, and then stayed on as a GA for 2 years. Then I went to Morehead State University as a graduate assistant for a year. And our head coach, Steve Loney, who had a long career in the NFL afterwards, was fired after we went 2-9. And so everybody's scrambling around trying to find a place to go. The offensive coordinator had been a great high school coach in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And, he said, hey, why don't you come along with me? We'll get you on as a substitute teacher. So I went to Bowling Green, Kentucky, and helped out with some high school football. And they needed a freshman boys basketball coach. I had played in high school, so they didn't have anybody else to turn to. So they asked me. So I started boys freshman basketball, and then very unplanned, I flipped over to girls basketball as an assistant, and then girls basketball as a head coach. And then a few years later, I was at the right place at the right time, working at a college exposure camp. Keith Freeman from Valparaiso University was there recruiting a kid. He approached me afterwards, asked if I would be interested in coming to VU, which I couldn't say no to that. So I was at Valparaiso for 7 years. And at that point, I became really interested in being a head coach. I shot out resumes to a lot of different places. This was one of them. I didn't know much about IU South Bend, but I landed here, and I've loved it. I've been here ever since. It's the right fit for me.
Yeah. So your team, I've seen play, I don't know, maybe a dozen times this year, doing the radio and TV broadcast to it. And I got to tell you, and I know I've told you this, many times, that your team plays so much like a guy's team, to be quite honest with you. And I don't know if saying that is a negative to you, but the way you take the cord and you cut it in half, and your driving line, and forcing everything to the baseline, and then your players are so receptive to every way you want to coach. I love watching your team play.
Well, I appreciate that. That's a high compliment coming from you. We, you know, I was, so my basketball, I guess, influences primarily came from Don Meyer at Lipscomb and his assistant coach, Mike Roller, who was a fabulous high school coach at Lipscomb High School. Coach Jerry Meyer, who was Coach Meyer's son. Jerry was a 2-time player of the year in Tennessee. And those guys, you know, they played that old style Dick Bennett stuff where back in the old days, Dick Bennett played that, you know, push, send it down. And then he didn't want to do that anymore because they got the men's game just kind of outgrew it maybe. And they were getting into too many rotations and then they went to packs. But in my world, playing pressure, that's what we'll call it, or push, outside and down, whatever you want to say. That's the only way to go. I mean, we don't have a zone defense coach. Someone asked me the other day, you guys ever play any zone? And I said, well, we probably should, but we don't have one. So that's out of the question. So, you know, everybody knows what they're going to get. And again, I take the great Mike Roller. He said, you know, we just hope our stuff's better than their stuff. And that's kind of how we hang our hat on things.
Well, you have a group now that can really, really play that way. Your 3 perimeter players are as good as any perimeter players that I've seen. And then you throw Jasmine Watts in there, who's a South Bend Riley product and who's just so athletic. You know, talk about the guard girls and Emma Fisher for a minute.
Yeah, sure. Well, those 3 fell into my lap unexpectedly. Emma came out of high school. She went to Benton Central, had a great career there, decided she wasn't going to play basketball coming out of high school. So I recruited her hard, and she politely and respectfully declined. One night in March over spring break, I get a phone call at 11 o'clock. Excuse me, not a phone call, a text message from a 765 area code. I don't have any idea who it is. And they say, hey, Coach, are you still interested in me? I've kind of changed my mind. And I didn't know who it was. And then I thought a little bit, okay, 765, Lafayette, Purdue-ish. Is this Emma? And she said, yeah, it's Emma. And I said, well, of course I still have interest. So that's how we got her here. And then the guard twins, maybe even better story. Cardinal Stritch used to be in our league, and they had a super head coach named John Fafal. John called me one day. He said, are you recruiting the guard twins? And I said, I'm not. I don't even know who they are. And he said, well, you should be. We want them, but they don't. Yeah. He said, you should be. We want them, but we don't have what they want to study. So they wanted to study dental hygiene, which we have here at IU South Bend. So I got in touch with them just because, you know, everything he said is always spot on. And we got them down here on campus. And one thing led to another, and they committed. And then they changed their major to business. So
that is a great story. And Maddie Gard now is your all-time leading scorer in IU women's history, right?
Yeah, she's at about 1,874 points right now. I think her sister Katie is 1,700. Emma Fisher's going to be close to the all-time leading assist leader here. And in addition to those guys being, you know, such good basketball players, they're Formula One athletic, and they're, as you know, Coach Heck, they are rascals. And I think that's something that makes us as good as we are. Our group has an edge. You know, we probably lead the conference in technical fouls, not so much this year, but certainly last year. And, you know, I have to tell you, I just let that go a little bit because that's who we are, and we're going to be who we are. And if people don't like it, well, then that's just the way it is.
Well, one of the most interesting things that I like, and I actually love this because that's how I was as a player, and that's how I was as a coach, and I'm pretty sure Pat is exactly the same way. Whenever there's a jump ball with your girls and the other team, it becomes, and it could be just a simple jump ball and they're on the ground, it automatically becomes a wrestling match, and your girls are going to show the other girls right there in that jump ball scrum that, hey, we're tough, man. We're tough, right?
Yeah. And sometimes, not to my liking, but sometimes a little bit afterwards, you know, one of our twins will sneak an elbow into somebody's solar plexus there when nobody's looking. I think you caught that on the last game, maybe, right?
I saw that. I saw that, and in the post-game interview of your last game with about 48 seconds left, one of the Judson girls did something, and Maddie Guard's on the bench, signaling, the technical sign against the Judson girl. And I said, Maddie, I said, that's amazing that's on your mind, because that's kind of on your mind always as a player anyway, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey,
well, I love coaching them. They're fiery competitors, and I'm just blessed to be around them for sure.
Hey, so tomorrow night at 7:00, you start the tournament. The tournament is going to be hosted at your place, and you play St. Francis, correct?
Yes, St. Francis in the quarters. If we are fortunate enough to win tomorrow, we'll play at the winner of IU Northwestern Roosevelt on Thursday night in the semifinals, and then, if we're fortunate enough to win that, who knows who will play in the finals? Governor State, maybe Olivet Nazarene, but St. Francis. Ron, I know you called that game. They're a pain in the rear end. They run really good offense, shoot a lot of threes.
Yep.
They're hard to defend. They're not a great defensive team, which helps us. But, we've got to keep the ball out of the lane so we're not making rotations unnecessarily. And I know this sounds silly, but we've talked a lot about this. We got to close out short on those kids, because as soon as we oversprint our closeouts, they're getting a paint touch and they're pitching it out the backside and they're shooting horse threes. And that's what they're after,
Yeah. So all that terminology that you just talked about, Pat and I look at each other and we say,
exactly what he's talking about.
That's exactly what we say, man. All that terminology, close out short, close out long, no middle, absolutely no middle, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I love that, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, I got a quick question for you. Olivet, do they still have 15 girls and rotate every 2 minutes like hockey and try to score 100 points, or have they changed?
Yeah, no, they haven't changed. Ron did that game last Wednesday night also. They made 15 threes, I think.
Yes.
We just gritted it out with them and beat them 84-81. But, they're also a pain in the rear end, particularly this year because, we're a little shallow in our depth. I mean, we can go 6, not lose anything. Maybe 7. We got a freshman Porter Berkman who's stepped up, and I think she'll help us because she plays hard. But against them, I was really concerned because they're subbing a lot of people, they're pressing, and they're, O-trans quickly down the floor, shooting a lot of threes. And I thought, we're going to be in trouble. So little side note here, I don't want to talk too long, but when I was I'll tie this in with playing Olivet, but when I was at Morehead State, we played Murray State in football, and we weren't any good. Murray State was good. We played at their place. Their mascot is a racer. They're the Murray State Racers.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they scored a touchdown, the mascot, the racer, and the guy who's on it, they take a lap around the track. Well, I think they beat us 49-7. I remember looking at our assistant coach, John Stonebreaker, and I said, listen, if they score much more, that horse is going to have a heart attack. Because
oh, dear.
So I guess I'm saying that because I was thinking in those same terms when we played Olivet, man. I hope we can keep up with these guys. But
I just
managed.
Yeah, I just remember when I was coaching at Holy Cross, we'd watch that girls' game. It was like, my gosh, it was a track meet.
Yeah, no, it's called the Grinnell system, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well,
listen,
I think the Grinnell men started it.
Yes. Well, listen, we certainly want to wish you the best of luck and take care of business here and win this conference tournament. Take them one at a time. Take care of business and then take care of some business here in your national tournament, man. You coach them right. You coach them right, and it's such a pleasure to be able to watch you guys play.
Ron, I appreciate that very much. And Pat, nice visiting with you, and thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
All right, thanks. Good luck, man.
Yeah, roll Titans.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
Take care, guys.
All right. I like that. Roll Titans. He's so the stuff he was saying, close out short, close out long. It gets me juiced up.
Gets you going.
No, you want to go coach some more?
We got this time to go coach. It gives you a little inkling.
I know you want to go coach,
but it just shows you that we were doing the same thing.
Yeah, maybe we can go coach the 8th grade team at St. Monica's.
And it just
something like that.
But it just shows you that I
want to coach again.
It just shows you that
Ohio State's got an opening
that we were teaching the kids at the high school level is transferable to the college level because they're going to hear the same terminology.
No, exactly. Where's my little heck giving love to Purdue? Yeah, so Purdue, man, they lose to Ohio State. Everybody's kind of down. And Ohio State gets the bump, right? The new coach bump.
Yep.
I love my players now. The old coach leaves. The old coach cussed at us. The old coach did this. Now the new coach comes in. You're such a nice player. You're such a good kid. So Ohio State beats the number 1 team in the country, obviously Purdue.
And then they went on the road this week and got beat. But then they turned around. They had 2 road games and they split, didn't they, Scott? So
yeah. And then Purdue comes out and methodically beats the crap out of Rutgers, 96-68, and then plays a hopeless Michigan team. I mean, Juwan Howard's got to get the axe, right?
I don't think he is. I think they're going.
Can we go coach at Michigan?
They're going to ride that out.
Give him a lifetime contract, like they need to give Woodson a lifetime contract at IU.
No, could we go get the Michigan job, you think?
They just don't have enough players right now.
Yeah, well,
Jimmy, he could be on the staff. Then
anyway,
you're in.
We'll get Jimmy in here one night and see what's going on up
Purdue
there.
does have enough players, and the way they rebounded 25-3, 14-3. And what's Heck going to say good about him? I'm going to say that Zach Edey's he's a monster, man. He goes for 35 and 15. He's number 2 in scoring now, jumped up to number 2. Number 1 is obviously Rick Mount. So Zach Edey, he's got maybe 3 more regular season games. He's got the conference tournament, and then he's got the NCAA tournament. And I would really love for Zach Edey. He came back. He came back
for a reason.
Yeah, no, he came back for a reason. Number 1, NIL money.
Right.
3 hots in a cot.
They're taken care of. Yeah, he's not going.
He gets
poor.
3 hots in a cot. He's got college chicks that he likes at Purdue. Why go to the NBA right now? He comes back.
He's got money. His mom can come see every game.
Yeah. So I'm saying, I want Zach and I want Matt and I want those guys to get to the Final Four, but not only get to the Final Four, win their opening game. Right.
Oh yeah.
They've struggled with that lately.
Let's get them to the Sweet 16 first.
Yeah, and then maybe get to the Final Four and show the country that Zach Edey is a good basketball player, not just a 7'4" kid. But anytime you go for 35 and 15, you're really good, man. And everybody knowing what you're going to do because scouting reports. He's going to take 1 dribble to his left. He's swinging back to that right-handed jump hook. Everybody knows the stuff.
But you can't stop it. If he gets both feet in the paint, you can't stop him.
And if Braden Smith can make some J's, Fletcher Lawyer's got to he's got to start rolling a little bit. Now he's been down a little bit.
Well, and Gillis has made a couple shots here recently.
Yes, he has. So that's my beautiful talk about Purdue. Notre Dame's played pretty well, won 3 league games here. They beat Louisville. They beat Georgia Tech. They beat Virginia Tech.
And they've got a game this week. They play Wake Forest tomorrow night.
Yes.
That's a home game at 9:00.
Okay. And then they get beat at Syracuse. Syracuse has a 29-point lead on them. And they come back and they make it a game. They lose by 3. The coach's kid, Braden Shrewsbury,
he's playing better.
Some tough luck, but 3 out of his last 4 games, he's 16 for 26 from deep.
He's playing better.
And Marcus is Marcus. Marcus can get a shot anytime he wants.
He has really impressed some people. He'll be in the running for freshman of the year.
I think so.
I think the only reason he won't be is because they're not in the top half of the conference. But Notre Dame's got 2 home games this week. They've got a 9:00 game tomorrow night against a very good Wake Forest team that just not only beat Duke, put one of their players on the injured list.
Yeah, Philip Alstead is, storming the court.
Yeah, that's all they're talking about.
Yeah, but you got to have some kind of
give them a chance to get off the court.
Game management,
right?
And give them 30 seconds to get off the court. I feel bad for that.
He got hit 2 steps after he moved. I mean, he was just stood there.
Yeah.
I have a conspiracy about that, though.
Okay, good, but give it after I give these commercials, man. Tony Letcher with Health Markets Insurance, he's just awesome. Whether you need help with your health insurance or Medicare, it's time you get the right coverage for the right price. Get a hold of Tony at 574-307-8882 or visit his website at tletcher.com. You see the good-looking Adams Eagle, Tony Letcher. Hahn Funeral Home is located at 505 West A Street, downtown Mich. Can call him anytime at 574-255-1474. Pat Hahn and his crew just do a tremendous job. And when you come in the saddest time of your entire life, they are great. They'll work with you. They'll let you know what services are available. But get a hold of them for all your professional needs when that time comes.
Well, we're looking at this week. Like I said, tomorrow night, Wake Forest is at Notre Dame. Miami plays at North Carolina. Wednesday night, you've got St. John's is down at Butler, and Seton Hall's at Creighton. The big game in the Big East this week will be Sunday. So write this one down. Sunday afternoon, Seton Hall at UConn.
Well, no. At Butler, is Ricky Pitino going to wear his white suit? He wore his white suit the last game.
Not on
Travolta.
Not on the road. He won't.
He was doing John. He was doing John Travolta.
That's his home game outfits.
All right. So,
but
go ahead. Besides that, are you kidding? We got the sectional starting tomorrow.
Basketball sectionals tomorrow.
I'm working at Mishawaka tomorrow. Mishawaka plays LaPorte. Michigan City plays Plymouth.
Right.
And then Adams will play the winner of Michigan City LaPorte, and Riley will play the winner of Michigan City and Plymouth, Mishawaka LaPorte. And Riley will play the winner of Michigan City and Plymouth.
And I will be
Did you rattle all that off the top of your dome?
And the only reason I can stop. The only reason
wait a minute.
The only reason I can do all that quick and that good is because of Magic Mind. I've been on it for about 4 or 5 days. It's amazing. I can tell you the starting lineup for the 1964 Chicago Bears championship team.
Not again. Oh, the 64 Bears.
Bears championship team. The defensive secondary.
See, the thing is, he can tell us anything we want. We're going to have to go ahead.
No. The defensive secondary. Davey Whitesell at a corner. Richie Pettibone at safety, Roosevelt Taylor at safety, and Benny McRae at another corner. Okay. Only because of MagicMind.com.
Who are the 3 lines?
John, can you name your favorite team's players?
Magic Mind, Johnny, be good.
I need Magic Mind because I couldn't name the 64 Lions. Sorry.
All right. In 64, the Lions didn't even have a team. They were terrible, man. Don't worry about it. John.
$100, Hack. We got $100 for next year.
John, MagicMind.com /Ron.
I'll type it in right now. As long as I get my 20% off, we're good.
20% order it, man. And then let me know what you think. John, your wife is going to say, John, is this the same Johnny Be Good I knew?
Oh, stop it.
John, and Pat,
well, John, tell everybody where we will be tomorrow at South Bend, Washington. Who plays who tomorrow?
Game 1 is Washington and Marian. Game 2 will be New Prairie and Jimtown. And then St. Joe plays the winner of Washington Marian. South Bend Clay will play the winner of New Prairie Jimtown. Then the championship game Saturday night at 7:30 at the Great Western Forum. All 5 games on broadcastsport.net with live video. You, me, Drew, and Kenny will be there.
That's right.
Kenny, that great sectional. That should be a good one.
That's right.
What about me, you, and a dog named Boo?
You're at Mishawaka. There.
He's at Mishawaka.
I mean, you and me and a dog named Boo.
He's got Mishawaka covered, so we're good.
I got Mish.
And a boy named Sue.
We'll be on the phone exchanging scores.
Boy named Sue.
Sue.
Hey, Scott, good job tonight.
Scott, you're the best, man.
Scott started in Greensboro this morning and been to Charlotte. Now he's in Madison, Wisconsin, and we've got a crowd of 2.
We got a crowd of 2, man. Beautiful. Let me see what this one does. The Black Sedan Band coming out of Birmingham.
Heck has found the buttons. We need to go home, Scott. We got food. Thank you.
Hey, Scott, you're the best, man. Thanks. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. We had a great time tonight. Patrick, you're the best.
We got some good phone calls in tonight. Good phone guests.
I'm glad Chemo Face is working.
Yeah.
It's good.
Our technology actually worked tonight.
No, it's beautiful.
Scott,
let me see what this one
on
is.
That. Oh, here we go.
Let me see what this one is.
The rim shot.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't let Heck touch the buttons, please.
We go home.
No more buttons.
All right,
See
we
you
gotta
guys.
get out of here. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next week, everybody.
We'll talk more basketball. Bye now.
Beautiful.
You know, I exercise a little bit and I got a little old tight butt. It ain't big enough to hit this tambourine on, but I'm gonna try.